What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Hope you guys are all having a great day today. Today we're gonna look at the Powerslide NEXT Core 110 skates. They've been hyped up for many years at this point. My main, purpose for this review, in my opinion, is to really kind of put these head to head with the Twister skates. And I believe these are literally the Twisters of the Powerslide line. Before I get into the actual overview of the skate, I just want to point out that Powerslide was so awesome in supporting this channel and sent these over for review. That being said, like always, all of my opinions and whatever I say in my videos are all of my own, so there you go. And with that, let's hop into the overview. I think these are on par with the styling of the Twister Edge skates. These are super, super clean, sick looking skates. I'm a real big fan for the black on black look in skates these days. If you haven't noticed, I just purchased the USD Iqon Basic 60s, which are all black on black. I just think it's just such a clean, classic look for a skate. It also hides scratches and things like that a lot better. Really cool looking design, but let's break the skate down starting from the top. So right off the bat, with our cuff here, like most skates these days, we have the low V-cut cuff, so it comes down for added maneuverability. So we swing around to the front of the cuff. We have our top buckle here. Not anything to write home about. They do have a spring mechanism to hold them back, but they don't lock into place. The Twister skates do have a locking mechanism, which is kind of nice. On top of that, the Twister, this strap part is a little thicker. The thing that I do like about these though, is on the cuff part right here, there's just little guiding parts. You can see there's just these little guiding hooks on the top of this. So this part doesn't slide around on you. Just a nice little added feature, I think. That's the cuff. Looks pretty good. If we move down the cuff, it looks like we do have removable cuffs like the Twisters have, which is nice. The cool thing about these skates though, you can actually adjust the cuff up and down depending on how much support you want out of this boot. That's a really cool feature. Wish this was on my Twister skates, to be honest. So yeah, that's the cuff. Let's move on down to the 45-degree strap. This is a ratchet or buckle protector right here, this little wall. That's pretty nice. So when you go down, just like these slide plates down here, this guy is getting slid on and not your buckle getting chewed up and possibly broken. Here's the buckle protector up here. It stays pretty flush. While they're not aggressive skates, people go pretty hard in these things and you're sending airs and doing some slides and all sorts of stuff in the urban environment. So it's nice to have a little bit more protection. So that being said, the 45-degree strap, the ratchet is super heavy duty, nice metal. Oh, I didn't say at top here, this mechanism area is metal, but the actual buckle is plastic. The nice thing though, they do have removable, they're not riveted, so you can remove them. Same with this 45-degree strap, you can remove and replace that. Not riveted. Pretty much to be expected on a higher end skate like this. You want to have stuff that you can change out to replace if you need to. This guy, super heavy duty, really nice tension feel, really easy release lever. This is a cool thing right here. There's actually a little guide right here. So this guy, the strap actually goes through there. Can't get all out of position and then into the receiver. Great 45-degree strap, good stuff. All right, so the next part to hold our feet in this skate are the laces. Per usual, some painted metal eyelets. The actual laces, they're shiny. So I'm not sure. Usually waxed laces aren't shiny, but I don't know if they're waxed or not. Next up, the actual boot part. We got a very classic looking boot. I love this little toe accent right here. It reminds me of the M12s or the old Lightning skates. Very kind of throwback look to a skate. Right below that, we have our slide plate. Usually on my Twisters or other skates I own, the actual slider is only about that long. Well, this slider goes all the way around the front and to the other side of the toe box. And I really like that because I just like having it on both sides and having a longer slide plate area. So that's cool. That's basically the whole shell boot part. Let's head on down and look at the frames. This is where these skates get a little bit different than your normal fitness or urban skate. Powerslide has went like they did with the Iqons and created their own mounting system. This is the Trinity mount system. Supposedly, it has better performance on power transfer as well as more options for kind of adjusting your frame under your foot. The actual Trinity mount system, I put it here and you can kind of see. So there's a bolt right in there, and then there's 2 bolts right there and there. Usually there would be a bolt here and a bolt here in line with the wheels. Well, the Trinity mount, what they were thinking is doing kind of more of a triangle system. And with a triangle, kind of locking that frame in place, which is, I think, a really cool design. The wheels come very close to the bottom of the boot, and that's because they don't have a bolt right there where the wheels would go that they have to kind of build around. They can just go straight up as close to the boot as they possibly can, which is really nice. So it's giving this 3x110 ride height much lower than, say, my 3x110 would be on my Twister frame. So like I just said, these wheels are 3x110. They are an 88A. They're the Powerslide spinner. Yeah, they look pretty cool. I almost think they'd look even sweeter if they're all black wheels, but that's just my personal opinion. Inside these wheels, which you can't see, are some Wicked bearings. Wicked is Powerslide's bearing brand, and I believe I've read that these are some ABEC 9 Wicked bearings. So some nice bearings in here. Shouldn't have a problem going fast and holding my momentum. So yeah, that is the outside of the skate. Let's break this thing open, take out the liners, and check out the inside of the skate. Here are the liners. These are the MyFit Recall liners. They are a dual fit liner. So what that means is the shell is, say, an 8/9, and these liners can adjust to that 8/9. So the liner, I think, is made to like an 8. But because this whole front toe box area, you can see the stitching there, that comes up to here and all the way around. This whole front toe box is neoprene, so this can stretch out and give you that extra full size to be a 9 as well. Right here, we got our skate carrier strap. This looks pretty beefy, to be honest. The stitch job, beefier than I've seen on other skates. I still wouldn't pull on this to put your skates on, but nice, pretty good size strap. Next thing we'll look at here, ooh. So these are nice, thick, padded liner. They're really nice and thick liner, at least up here in the cuff zone. This is actually a heat moldable liner, so you can stick these in the oven and mold them to your foot, and so it's just like a perfect fit inside the skate. Such a great thing to have a heat moldable liner. Next up, we got the tongue here. Really nice, stiff tongue. Love this tongue. This is the kind of tongues I really enjoy because, you know, to be honest, there's so much to be said about a skate liner tongue. The skate liner tongue, one, keeps you comfortable, your whole shin area. On second, that's where your power transfer is coming from when you're flexing on your, forward. Like, that's such an important piece to not be this floppy piece of, fabric. Another cool thing to see is there are some lace holes right here, some loops, so you can lace up this part and really cinch that down if you want to. As we go down, I really enjoy this, how this whole area, usually you see like a tongue that goes all the way down to here, and then you gotta have this weird thing where you got this overlap of the tongue and the other part of the liner that's kind of overlapping and pinching the top of your foot. Well, in these, it's just a flat piece. Like, they stopped before the top of your foot starts, which is really cool because that's gonna be so much more comfy than having a tongue and the liner edge kind of overlapping and pushing, making a little line hotspot area. Don't like that. Love this design. Like I said before, dual fit neoprene at the front of the toe, so you can really spread your toes out or get that extra bit of size in, say, a bigger shell. Ooh, these are pretty nice. They're a little grippy. They're not plasticky like a lot of bottoms of liners are, so that's nice to see, to kind of hold the liner in place in the shell. Pretty nice looking insole, very thin, but it looks to really have a high arch, so that might be good for some people. If you don't have any arches, that might be terrible. They have a bit of padding, like thick, almost memory foamy feeling, like right in this area, which is cool, but there's nothing right here in terms of shock absorption in the heel. It's literally just as thin as possible. Not awesome. I'm hoping there's a good size shock absorber right there. So let's check it out. Here's that shock absorber I was talking about. Not too bad, not too bad. I would say pretty equivalent to my Twister shock absorbers, although my Twisters had some shock absorption in the heel. It is interesting though that they did connect the shock absorber to this little plastic bit that you always see in skates so that the liner doesn't get chewed up on the bolts or just the bottom of the mold of the boot. because it kind of keeps that heel pad in place. One last thing I want you guys to check out is actually in the bottom of the boot. Down inside there, no clue if you guys are able to see this, but the wheels actually have holes in the bottom of the boot in there. And what that's doing is just making sure that these wheels aren't rubbing, especially that front wheel right there is just a hole inside that shell of the boot to make it really low riding profile, which is really cool. Very similar technique or design that you see in the USD Aeons, but that is a unibody design. So they can have a bigger wheel and a lower ride height. What that means is this little piece of plastic that you find in the bottom of your shell is very important, because that's not just keeping your liner safe from like getting kind of roughed up as you're skating in it from the bolts and whatnot, but it's also keeping all the dirt and debris and whatever out from the inside, from the bottom of your boot to getting into the inside of your shell. So a very important piece to keep in your boot right here. All right, so that was the overview of the skate. I am really excited to jump on these skates and really put them through their paces and see what they're all about, and see, you know, how they compare and contrast to the Rollerblade Twisters that I so adore. I can already see there's some design features that I really like about this that I wish kind of would be on the Twisters, to be honest. But let's see if in actual practice and skating, where it really matters, if that actually makes a difference. So let's put the skate back together and let's get out there and start rolling. right, so what do I think about these skates? Well, let's find out, starting with the pros. So the first pro for these skates, I gotta say, these things are super dope looking. I would have to say they rival the Twister Edge looks, maybe even better. I really enjoy the looks of these skates. So for the second pro, it has to do with this liner. It is a high performance, really pretty comfortable liner. And to add to that, it's heat moldable too. I love heat molded liners. I really wish that the Twister Edge would have a heat moldable liner. So for the third pro, it has to go to the Trinity mount system. I really enjoyed the Trinity mount system. I recently reviewed the Zoom Pro skates and it worked really well on those, but I really felt a bit more just solidness out of these, just because the Trinity mount system was a part of the actual shell and wasn't an adapter to it. I really got the full feeling of the Trinity mount system on these skates, and I have to say it's a great system. The few things that make this Trinity system great is the fact that it lowers your ride height, it has great energy transfer, and the other thing about these is the fact that you can really kind of move around and kind of get that frame to sit any which direction, forward, back, side to side. Really good micro adjustment ability with this Trinity mount system. And the last thing that's a pro for these, the Trinity mount Pro, is just the fact that the vibrations on these things, these were really smooth and really well controlled. Yes, they were a 3x110 skate or wheel size, so that really helps with the vibration and the ground feel as you're rolling over some more kind of gritty stuff. But I feel like these had much less footbed vibration than my 3x100 Twister Edge skates. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that energy is transferring up and in and around the shell of the boot, rather than just directly under 2 points of your boot, which is your forefoot and underneath your heel. So lots of great things with this Trinity mount system. I can't say enough great stuff. So for the next pro, they are so lightweight. They just really felt like closer to like a shoe on my foot rather than like a full skate. So the next pro, all the slide protectors that are on these, and especially the one that wraps around the full front of your forefoot from the outside where a normal slide protector is all the way to the inside, it's just really cool. Like, I think that's something that more skate companies should just adapt and take on, because, yes, when you slide out, usually where that normal slide protector is 80% of where you're gonna scrape the boot up. But why not have that whole toe box just covered on it with a slide protector? I think it's just a really smart design choice. It looks good too. On top of that, they have the slide protector for the 45-degree buckle, and they also have a really good slide protector for the actual cuff strap. And for the last pro, the cuffs aren't just removable, which is great, but they're adjustable. So you can kind of rocker them in or out, whichever way, or up or down. While I didn't play with that while I was on these skates, just the added benefit of having that feature on the skate is a plus in my book. So that's a great list of pros. Let's check out the cons. So for the first con, this is a con that isn't really a big deal, but for a more premium skate, it would be nicer to see a little thicker, beefier straps, as well as that top buckle. It would be really nice to have, kind of like the Twisters have, where you put it and it snaps and locks into place. So for the next con, I would really prefer having a bit longer frame. These frames are a 243, which is basically the same as, say, a 4x80 setup. I think 243 works on a 4x80 pretty well because you are lower to the ground, but a 243 on a 3x110, it just felt so wobbly and not as stable as it could have been. Yes, it's super maneuverable, but it's just, you feel like you're much more on high heels at that point because you don't have anything in front and back of you. And I'm only a size US men's 9, 8.5, 9 foot. My foot's not that long. Like, imagine getting a 10 or 11 size foot on this thing. Yeah, you're gonna be riding around on like a pyramid underneath you, a reverse pyramid. So I think we could have totally went with like a 255. I think that's what's on the Twister 3x110s. I would have much rather preferred a longer frame on this setup. And the next con is the wheels. These spinner wheels are, they were really fast. I really liked them for that, for just cruising on. But when I started trying to do slides and kind of just more flatland tricks and whatnot, I think they can slide really well. They can break free really easily. But I kept running into this weird issue where it's like I was sliding and all of a sudden I'd like catch and like really weird. It just didn't feel predictable. Say like my hydrogens or my revolvers, or just a softer wheel. I don't know. All I know is I felt a little sketchy on these wheels. That being said, the next step up of these skates, the Pro models actually come with some undercover wheels, which I love those wheels. So I would almost push people, if you have a little bit extra cash, to go to the Pro models of these because because of those wheels, to be honest. And the last con for these skates, it's the Trinity mount. I did say that I love this Trinity mount system, and I do love it for all those reasons that I stated in the pros. But until the Trinity mount is released to third-party frame developers, you're really stuck in this Powerslide frame ecosystem, which, yeah, there's some good frames, but you just don't have the freedom to customize your ride and try out new frames and new riding styles. All right, so who are these skates for? I'm gonna say these are for the intermediate to advanced skaters with more of that narrow foot. I mean, it's really for the skaters that just want the most bang for their buck. There's so many features on this skate for that $300 price tag. The performance is amazing, and they just look so cool to boot. I mean, they're just a great package. So who are these skates not for? I'm gonna say they're probably not for the beginners, pretty much just because there are other options out there that are more budget friendly, just in case you don't get into this. But if you have the cash, I think you could totally rock these as a beginner. These are great skates all around. They're also not for the skater with a wide foot, and for the skater that is, wants to dabble with his skate setup and wants to maybe try some endless frames or some NN skate frames, or whatever. Like, until there's a way to put other frames on these skates, you might want to look elsewhere if that's something you want to do with skates. So in the end, I had a great time on these skates. I have to say, these are the perfect rival to the Rollerblade Twister Edge skates. I would definitely push someone to go towards these skates over Twister Edge if they have a narrow foot, but want a little bit more width and kind of just room in that toe box area. That being said, if you have a flat foot or even a medium foot, or just a standard arch foot like I do, you may be needing to punch these out in the arches because they really get narrow in the arch and the heel, and in the arch especially, they stay narrow pretty high up, so they have really high arch on these skates. And that was a thing that right off the bat I noticed, and I'm gonna have to heat mold that arch back out a little bit just so that there's not so much pressure underneath my arches. So another little quick note, the cuff strap receptors on the insides, I really enjoyed that. The way that they unlock and come undone, because on my twisters, inside of my boots kind of rub together, I can clip the little receptor part for the cuff strap, and it'll pop my cuff strap off or loosen it up a lot, and I have to sit there, I have to go and fix it, right? That never happened on these skates for me, because the way that they loosen up or unlock is reversed to where you wouldn't ever catch it when you're skating. So in the end, if you guys are looking to get in on a pair of these skates, I totally recommend measuring your foot in centimeters, and then you're using their sizing chart and making sure that your foot falls within that centimeter range. I would almost push your foot towards the top end of that range just so you get a nice, snugger, tighter, more performance fit. That's what I did. Actually, to be honest, that was another downside to these. They don't come in every size, and the way that these are kind of spaced out in the dual sizing is I don't have my perfect size here on these skates. I either have to go way big or just under my perfect size. And so that's what these are. These are just under my perfect size. So these are a little bit smaller than I would actually want to be rolling on. But that being said, once I get the shell heat molded, the liner's already heat molded, I think I'm gonna have that extra, I think it's like a millimeter or two. It'll relieve a little bit of pressure on that front toe, but I think I'm gonna get them to work just right. I wish they came in more sizes, like the Twister Edges, so there is that. So all in all, these skates were a ton of fun to roll on. I'm so glad I finally got to try these out, since everybody talks about how, oh, the next skates, you're a Twister Edge man, but you gotta try out these next skates. And I'm glad I finally got to try them, because they are really a great skate. And now I almost don't even have a favorite anymore. I probably will still prefer my Twister Edges for a little while, just because those are kind of what I'm used to. But if I was coming to this without any kind of background, I could, at this point, go either way. They're really both a great option. These skates can really take anything you want to throw at them. And because I couldn't really crown a winner here in terms of the Rollerblade Twister Edge or the Powerslide Next, gotta give them the same score. So that's why I'm giving these skates a 3.75 wheels out of 4. If you guys have any questions about these skates, please feel free to ask in the comments below. I am more than happy to share with you everything I know about them. If you guys like this video, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell so you miss any of these uploads. And until next time, guys, just keep rolling.